Hey, hello, chess lovers, and welcome back to Chess Way. And today, we've got a super exciting chess game played between Mikhail Tal and Martin Neibult. This one was played on March 30th, 1959. All right, guys, the game kicks off with e4, and black responds with c5, then white hits back with d4. Yeah, this is the Sicilian defense with the Smith-Morra gambit. Neibult accepts the gambit, and white immediately throws another pawn with c3. Black grabs it, and white recaptures with the knight. All right, we continue with knight to c6, answered by knight to f3. Black slowly opens the center with d6. Tal develops the bishop to c4, aiming straight at the f7 pawn. Black has to defend with e6, which unfortunately blocks his own bishop. And Tal finishes the opening with short castling. White's development is insanely fast here. Black tries to keep up with knight to f6, but white brings the queen to e2, defending the pawn and taking advantage of black's uncastled king side. Neibult plays a6, stopping anything from landing on b5, but white is super quick. Rook to d1, taking over the semi-open file. Black plays queen to c7, and white immediately hits again with bishop to f4. Of course, black doesn't want to keep getting bullied, so he plays knight to e5, offering a trade and attacking the bishop twice. White has many choices here, including taking the knight or even the crazy bishop to b5 check sacrifice line that some grandmasters actually play. If the pawn takes, the knight recaptures, and white gets massive control. But this time, Tal stays patient and pulls the bishop back to b3. Neibult uses the moment to play bishop to e7, preparing to castle. And now white is absolutely ready to go. The a-rook comes to c1, creating a discovered attack on the queen and completely taking over the open file. Black retreats the queen to b8. Yeah, it's passive, but protecting the king is priority. White continues with knight to d4, challenging the center. Neibult ignores it and castles short. We are officially entering phase 2 of the war. Tal pulls the bishop back to g3, preparing f4. Black anticipates with knight to d7, but of course Tal pushes f4. The position is still totally normal. Black could play a g6 or knight to c5, but instead Neibult plays e5, attacking the knight. And look at this, it's weird. He opens the diagonal for white's light-squared bishop and allows the knight to jump to f5, attacking the bishop and pressuring d6 twice. Huge moment for white. If black retreats the bishop, he loses a key pawn. So Neibult tries to defend with rook to e8. But guys, you know what moving the rook means. The f7 pawn is now weak. White immediately throws the queen to c4, threatening check. White is completely dominating here. Black simply cannot defend f7. So Neibult pushes d5. White takes with the knight, attacking the bishop, and black hits back with bishop to c5 check. White calmly steps the king to h1. Neibult uses the tempo to bring the rook to e6, blocking the queen's attack. Now ask yourself, if you were white here, what would you play? There are two normal moves. Pawn takes pawn, attacking the knight, or knight takes knight on f6 check. But did anyone here think of Tal's move? Queen takes bishop. Is that a queen sacrifice? Actually, no. Let's break it down. If the knight takes the queen, white's knight takes back with check, and black cannot survive, no matter if the king goes to f8, h8, or if the rook takes the knight, or even if the pawn takes. The answer is always rook to d8 check, forcing the rook to block, and then white simply takes, and it's mate. Yeah, Tal is absolutely insane when he throws his queen like that. Back to the game. Because of that, Neibult does not take the queen. Instead, he captures the knight. So Tal must take the knight with the rook. Then Neibult plays take 4, attacking the bishop. But Tal responds with knight to e7 check. Look at this. Black is completely falling apart because the knight also attacks the bishop. Neibult keeps playing with king to f8. White could simply take the bishop and win everything, but Tal goes deeper. Knight to c6 is a mating threat, and it hits the queen. So Tal decides to take the knight first. Black recaptures with the bishop, but it's not over. Knight to c6 check, and black blocks with the queen. So, Tal takes the rook first, and that's it. The double threats are too much, and Martin Neibult resigns immediately. The power of Mikhail Tal, guys. When he attacks, every piece joins the fight. Nothing is wasted under his command.
All right, guys, let's try to see what happens if the game keeps going. You can clearly see the queen has absolutely no safe square to run to. The king on e8 gets hit back by knight to f5, and that is just over. Or maybe the queen tries to escape to e8. Yeah, sure, but then knight to d5 check. The king has no choice, it must go back. White can simply capture the bishop, threatening the queen. After the queen recaptures, the knight jumps back to b6, and there it is again, the deadly fork. The queen is forced all the way back to the back rank because there is a check coming, and if white wants to have some fun, white can even take the pawn first because the rook still cannot be saved anyway. This is clearly absolutely winning for white. Or maybe you want to finish it by completely blundering the rook to a7, because the reply is, of course, queen to c8, queen captures, checkmate. If the queen goes to f8, it is the same thing. White takes the queen with check, after the king takes back, bishop to d6 check first, and no matter where the king tries to hide, the rook will slide to c8 for a beautiful checkmate. Look at the teamwork in this combination, guys. Not a single piece is wasted under the command of Mikhail Tal. Wow.
All right, guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful. And if I made any mistakes, my apologies. Thank you, chess lovers.